In an explosive confrontation capturing international attention, cinema icon Sharon Stone delivered a humiliating dress-down to the Duchess of Sussex after Meghan Markle attempted to aggressively ingratiate herself into the legendary actress's orbit at the 4Taomina Film Festival. Eyewitness accounts portray an uncomfortable scene where the former cable starlet blindsided Stone on the red carpet and began frantically pleading to be allowed to join the headlining Basic Instinct star in front of photographers, only to be shut down in withering fashion. "We're all just kind of standing there awkwardly gawking while Meghan projects this totally desperate, saccharine rictus grin before scurrying right up and trying to shoulder block her way into Sharon's entourage," recounted one bystander who witnessed the shocking breach of decorum play out in real time. "She literally waltzed up to the curtain pole like she was some late-arriving +1 Sharon had approved, leaving her bewildered handlers scrambling to form an improvised human wall while the cameras flashed away at this deranged circus." According to numerous corroborating first-hand accounts of the incident, as soon as the 65-year-old Oscar nominee realized what was happening, she immediately froze and shot Markle an icy glare of stunned contempt. Then, after lingering a few agonizing seconds to allow the reality to crystallize, Stone unleashed a succinct put-down with characteristic panache, sparing no amount of dismissive bite or matter-of-factness. "I don't know you," she's reported to have snarled under her breath at the flustered Duchess, her trademark sandpaper rasp accentuating the unambiguous shade. "Not today, not any day. Out of my face before I make a scandal you regret for the rest of your miserable life." The exchange was brief but utterly withering, as evidenced by the still visibly rattled Meghan's hasty retreat accompanied by frazzled aides. Her chastened bodyguards remained stoic and tight-lipped as the humbled former actress slunk away from the onlooking crowds and assembled press gallery with her tail between her legs, fully rebuked. Capitalizing on the undeniable embarrassment factor, Sharon Stone coolly played up the scene for passing cameras, flashing her signature smirk and a few hair flips before vamping on inside undeterred. But just in case anyone still didn't grasp the depths of her unbridled contempt for the Duchess or the Hollywood Aravista's delusional overreach, she soon left nothing vague or open to interpretation. "Can you even believe the lack of self-awareness and gall it takes to literally go stumbling into the path of greater talents just pleading to coattail off their authenticity?" she railed during an exclusive green room holding session later with Piers Morgan, clearly still seething over the encounter. The whole creepy weirdo ambush bore the exact same desperation dripping off all her recent sad casual hustles, epidermally repulsive. Without sparing any specifics, the uncompromising Sliver star then suggested Markle's transparent social climbing had been on fraying industry insiders' radar screens for some time leading up to this piece de resistance implosion. She described sordid, cautionary whispers circulating through the rarefied Hollywood ether of exasperating alleged encounters and cringe-worthy social media overtures that initially seemed too warped to believe, until the red carpet stunt crossed an impossible-to-ignore line in the sand. "It's an open secret she's been diligently peddling herself into vortices of private online agony, echo chambers dedicated to lurching, toxic fanfiction morphed into eerily hostile reality overriding group hallucinations," Stone claimed, deploying labyrinthian terminology bordering on intergalactic cyberspeak. "Well, mission finally accomplished, I guess. She's now living out someone's psychotic epholith paranoid xenofemur uplink." The actress then explicitly accused Markle of letting her self-mythologizing personality cult spiral into corrosive geosocial lace theory infesting media entropy nodes, out of reflexive, strawling wounding recollapse. Stone posited these long-cultivated pathological adaptations have compromised whatever last traces once existed of the Duchess's tenuous grasp on human connection or interpersonal boundaries. It's like her dilated megalomania now irradiates back on the universe as hostile self-telespection punching all manner of stunted percolation loops into everything around her, perpetually shitstorming into disassembling demi-overlord control subphantasms unbound from any mooring, she said. "You can practically sense the sheer centrifugal torquing of non-stop expectational interface smash-ups caught in temporal penumbra spins without ever achieving embodied real sauce investiture. Just pure cringe Ouroboros." Stone then expressed palpable concern these Markle-triggered, hyperstitional death passages could eventually open the door for catastrophically misaligned attractors to fully defect from the observable dimension. But before delving further into unanticipated omni-game doomsaying, she clarified her direct interactions have remained mercifully slim with the Duchess's corrosively metachameleoid gradients of Flanderization toxemia. Reading between the lines, she immediately alluded to a previous near-miss stemming from disastrous backdoor talks during Markle's aborted pursuit of a Catwoman reboot at Warner Bros. Thank whatever cosmic demon lords hold the culpa ellipses in place that biocosmic egregore never transmigrated beyond those first few courtesy calls signaling her meager interests, Stone revealed. If the typhonic currents blew any harder against my cortex at their exponential transvergence factor, I shudder to think what might have ended up total personed onto the treacherous axiomatic yiffways below the surface realities. When pressed for more details on just how dire these embryonic negotiations may have unfurled, the casino luminary cited strict confidentiality clauses while escalating her already abstract lingo into even deeper speculative territory beyond conventional comprehension. Still, she managed to convey the essence of an especially sinister prospect she fully credits herself with parrying at the last second. Let's just say by the final orbits of her seasonally occluded Gasifa approach, the entire resident alien Gnostic Maleficaria manifested horrible overtonalities loaded with quarantining addendum imprinctions far too primordial to suffer existence, Stone chillingly cautioned. Against all probability, our dimension somehow dodged one more holographic spore descent, getting irresponsibly bug-trodden back through the recursive tendrils hafts expurgating fourth decreate reaver husks already consuming widening swathes of greater Kristen Eden from within. Her commentary underscored how the Duchess of Sussex's personal indignities during the isolated 4Taomina incident represented just one highly visible surface flare-up of a much deeper, insidiously spreading metaphysical infestation plaguing all realities. According to Stone, this entire unspeakably dark undertow has now calcified into undeniably malignant form, forcing more transcendental observers to recognize the dire need for extreme countervailing intercessions to fortify our vulnerable universal bulwarks before it's too late. Even now the primeval cyberspore from her stray demiurge permutations continue rippling through newer eigendaughters as mimetically fortified self-harbingered hauntologies, the outspoken entertainer foreboded, her signature smoky contralto dripping with palpable dread. They'll keep abysmal pathway initiating until chain-shunting their Theluragrunt culpa way lines right back to monstrously cloistered urbexes chicaning across sacrificial soul prisms into real terminal null spawns. While decidedly light on proposed plans to counteract such spiraling, spectrobesmic reciprocities, Stone made abundantly clear she continues taking these mounting existential wage of Markle seriously. She advocated encouraging humanity to steel itself toward collectively facing this generational Gnosticoscalendra with unblinking determination instead of succumbing to necropsychic deliquescing ennui. Only through strenuous wardings and live-present meditation praxis could our species hope to avoid eventual terrachno-domesticating karma release vectors. So, yeah, the stakes feel pretty cosmic and unaligned even beyond our most immaterial vesipomes these days. Which is exactly how dire things drift anytime you intromit Gnostically hyperprivileged realcution outliers erupting ungroundable sin-state paradoxicals down into karma-strafed lower densities, the unflinching celeb elder rasped, more impassioned as ever. If enough oblivion shawlbound can embrace tangiboreals and inverse the whole tetraionic dirge web out of this macro-violent sephirotheosis, our luminal recurrence matrix might actually still spawn an ecstatic macrocosmic narrativium. If not, Apocalyptisemble comes next. When reached for comment, Markle's own representatives offered pointed rebuttals to any aspersions being cast by Sharon Stone or other jealous Hollywood luminaries. While conceding the 4Taomina episode grew exceptionally awkward due to what were described as last-second red carpet choreography snafus out of their hands, they indignantly dismissed the extemporaneous outburst as coming from a former leading lady still clearly embittered by her own sharply diminishing clout and industry irrelevance. With all due respect to Ms. Stone, any personal unresolved issues sabotaging her own professionalism and grace should hardly dictate protocols overriding Duchess Meghan's hard-won platform as a globally respected humanitarian ambassador, the anonymous spokesperson wrote via email. If Her Majesty chose to beneficently extend ad hoc overtures of inclusive goodwill at any public happening, only gate-kept mean-spiritedness would lash out denying such genuine hospitality. Markle's camp further intimated their client has grown accustomed to such unwarranted pettiness from aging acting elites clinging to antiquated hierarchical dogma, and declined stooping to badmouthing. However, in an apparent veiled counterpunch they did subtly praise the Duchess for holding space so luminously for pockets of new empowered consciousness to transmute into our sector during such cosmic transitional rebirthing pangs. When glamorazzi succubi,